For today's vocabulary, we're talking about, is Elon Musk fit or unfit to be a CEO? There's been a lot of kind of crazy news about it for the past couple of months. So let's go to number one, a rant. So a rant is something that you can do even if you're not online. Like a rant is like, you can be upset, somebody ticked you off, and you're just kind of complaining. Maybe you have like a list of complaints, and you're just like telling your friends. You can go on a rant at work. You can go on a rant to your friends or anybody that's willing to listen. And what happens is, when you go on your rant, you make your point, and then you just kind of calm down, right? Most people are kind of willing to listen to your rant, but a tirade. Number two, a tirade is a kind of much more angrier, more emotional version of a rant that basically gets kind of awkward. I mean, you can listen to somebody's rant and kind of be like, oh yeah, that's really terrible. I'm sorry, But if somebody's going on a tirade and they're like kind of stomping their feet and hitting the desk and shouting and stuff, that's really hard to be around. So, when someone goes on a rant, for example, if a U.S. president is upset about something and makes several posts on Twitter that are in a row, that can be a rant. But if the same person is complaining about something and it doesn't sound like it makes any sense because he's so angry and it's all in caps and it kind of just seems to go on and on and on for no reason, that looks more like a tirade. Mm-hmm. So a rant or a tirade, you can do it in person or you can do it online. Number three, this is kind of a strange thing, a pedophile. So a pedophile is basically a grown-up, someone who's an adult that has a kind of sexual attraction to children, to minors. The word phile, P-H-I-L-E, is someone that's a kind of like fanatic of something. You can be an audiophile, meaning you like to collect records and have like a high-quality audio system. You can be a moviephile, meaning that you like to collect movies and you know a lot of movie trivia. So a pedophile is someone that has a kind of weird obsession with children. This is something that we don't really normally talk about, but the reason why it came up is because Elon Musk had called somebody a pedophile as an insult. And so it kind of brings up, actually number one, number two, and number three bring up the kind of culture of like online, I guess, arguments, online insults, debates, and people, they kind of resort to being very childish online. So one of the childish things that people do online is they call each other a pedophile if they're just angry with each other. Not very nice thing to do, but if there's two parties, like two guys that are arguing over something online and they disagree and they get angry and they go on further tirades and they're not really at the point of making points to each other anymore, they're just trying to hurt each other or make insults to each other, one of the things that they do is they start calling each other a pedophile. Or sometimes a pedo or pedo for short. So I don't know why anybody does that. It's just people do it. So it's not a very mature thing to do. It got Elon Musk in some trouble. Number four, full on. So when you do something full on, that means you go all the way. Like you put 110% effort. Wow. So. If you planned on just having like one beer for dinner, but then like a couple of your friends call you up and then suddenly you guys are like full on having like, the whole night out with soju and beer, then that means you just kind of like went all the way and just, didn't hold back. When you do something full on, that means you just you don't hold back. You put in the total complete amount of effort. Number 5, oust, which is to remove somebody from a position or place. Normally, when you hear that somebody was ousted from a position, it's usually like a kind of higher position. You know, you don't really hear of like, you know, this part-time employee from a fast food restaurant was ousted, because it's not really used like that. So if it's somebody that's like an executive or a board member, and they were removed, they were voted and removed from the company or from their position, then they were ousted. Number 6, leeway is a great word to use. It's used quite often. It's when you have a lot of flexibility with time, with space, resources, materials, or even the choices you make. You have some flexibility with like some freedom to make a choice about something. You know, if you had a kind of report that was due in 1 week, you know, you might say, okay, I got a report due that's in 1 week, but I was just told that I have some leeway for a couple extra days if I needed. Or if you have to deliver something to a client, and the company tells you, okay, just get this thing to this client by this date at this location. I don't care how you do it. You have some leeway to choose how you can do it. You know, just get it there. So leeway just kind of gives you some flexibility. Usually we say like you have some leeway to do it. You know. Number 7, to run into a stone wall or run through a stone wall. It's just basically you are hit with an obstacle that you can't. You know, it's very difficult to get around. It's a huge challenge, and it kind of puts a delay on you reaching your goal or your task. Number 8, off the wall. It says angry. I would like to correct that and say crazy. Absolutely crazy. Because you can be off the wall with your humor and you're not angry. It just means you have very strange humor. You can be off the wall with like your energy, and that just means that you have crazy energy. Now you can be off the wall angry, like you know, if you go off the wall because somebody had ticked you off, then yeah, you can be crazy angry. So usually off the wall means like kind of extremely crazy in certain areas. I usually use it as a kind of way to intensify the I guess, you know, the description of something. So like, you know, his humor is like really off the wall. Like he's really kind of got crazy, strange humor. Number 9, grandeur, like the car, basically means to have some kind of dignity or pride, especially in your greatness or your accomplishments. This is usually not one trait that that you see normally. This is a trait that you see in like people that have a kind of higher status or have achieved something quite big. Then they might have some kind of grandeur about them. There's an expression that's used in this article, that's the second to last paragraph, that said delusions of grandeur. This is an expression, or maybe a condition really, that it's a kind of psychological thing where you believe that you are greater or better or more successful than you really are. They call it delusions of grandeur, because delusions is like things that are not, that you believe or see that are not real. And grandeur of greatness, so you believe yourself to be great, but you're not really great, you know. And last, number 10, to step up to the plate, is to basically face a challenge. Be ready to face a challenge. So it's like when playing baseball, when it's your turn to bat, you step up to the plate, you take the bat, you are ready. You're studying the pitcher and kind of using some psychology and trying to judge what the pitcher is going to do, and it's up to you to score, or it's up to you to at least get to the next base. So step up to the plate is something that we say like to each other or to ourselves when we're saying that we're going to take a challenge, we're going to take responsibility for something, we're going to kind of lead in that situation. If you're having a meeting at work and there's a situation and you have more information or you've dealt with this experience before, then you might step up to the plate to lead in that kind of situation and say, okay, well, I'm going to step up to the plate and show you guys a couple things here, you know. And so that's our vocabulary for today.